Asian Americans were redlined from opening businesses in white neighborhoods because white people didn't want Asian Americans operating in their neighborhoods and didn't want Asian Americans profiting off of white people. But because the positionality of Asian Americans is weaponized to oppress black people, Asian Americans were being given loans to open businesses in black communities, even though black people were not able to receive loans to open businesses in their own communities. And as I've said before, as a result of this, black wealth is essentially paid out twice when it goes to Asian American businesses. Once when the individual pays for the goods or services, and then again when the Asian American business owner removes the profit from the community. Because usually people open businesses in their own communities, and this is mutually beneficial, where the business owner is making a livelihood off of providing goods and services to their community. And by being a member of the community, they're contributing and they're investing back into the community. This is an ideal situation, and that is not what happens with Asian American businesses operating in black communities.
Said, should we boycott Asian shops? Is that what we should do? And then every one of them said yes. Yes. Because how are black people supposed to mobilize if they're in our communities? It's not no Asian hating. It's about economics and why black people can't keep their black money within their community. So when you go to your corner shops and, you know, the food stop that they sell, right? They sell our food. They go to the corner shops. They have chicken shops lined up in our thing. It's all going back in into their community. How is it coming back into ours? We have to boycott them. We don't want to, but we have to boycott them to keep it within our community. Otherwise, how are we going to progress? Right? I can't do it on my own. I need black people to help me. And I also said as well, I said, black people, you need to take time with black businesses as well.
Yeah. What you need to do, it's not even about boycott the Asian shop. It's like, buy black. That's all your message is. No, buy black.
The reason why I disagree with that, sorry to cut you.
No, go on.
The reason why I disagree with that is because when you say buy black, we still are about convenience until we get out of that mindset to strictly go and buy black. You have to give black people options. If I don't give them options, what they're going to do, they're going to fall back into the cycle. You have to get, and this is what I'm saying, like when I said boycott the Asian shops, it's because they're literally in every single community.
As you said, give the alternative. So you can say, the only reason I'm saying, because I think getting tied up into a culture war also isn't helpful for us, because we just look like the aggressors or something.
No.
I'm not saying don't call it out. I think there's a conversation that I definitely think there's a conversation that needs to be had.
I haven't been to an Asian beauty supply store since Stop Asian Hate. And I know what y'all about to say. Oh, it's not all Asian people, right? But in my experience, living where I live, Asian stores have been anti-black and racist towards black people, and that's not a what if, that's a fact. I've literally experienced that. I've experienced being followed around. I experienced being stared at and looked at weird and rushed. I've experienced those things, so I haven't been supporting Asian businesses since then. Okay, it wasn't hard for me to stop going to Target because I really didn't go anyway, but Walmart, it was kind of hard because I used to go all the time, but I stopped going to Walmart. So if I could stop going to Walmart, y'all can stop going to Walmart. What else? Yeah, that's been my way of protesting, boycotting, and spending my money in places where it better serves me. And I've just been mostly buying groceries and cooking things. I've been in an Asian restaurant probably twice since that Stop Asian Hate thing, and that wasn't of my own free. What's the name? You know what I'm saying? Like, it was somebody else that wanted to go in there. So that's what I'm saying. That's my way of doing it. Y'all can respect it. Y'all can't respect it. Again, I'm not saying it's all Asian people that do these things, but from what I'm seeing, from my perspective, it's a good chunk. So that's what I'm doing.
I'm boycotting all Asian businesses. And I said it with my blood clot chest.
A black woman who's really been making waves on social media lately. She's calling on the black community to basically boycott all Asian-owned shops, corner shops, restaurants, you name it.
You think it's just an accident that black businesses disappeared?
Now, why is she doing this? Well, she argues that Asian communities got a leg up from the British establishment. Like, historically, they had it easier getting mortgages, starting businesses, and just weren't targeted as much as black communities who faced, higher stop and search rates and more barriers to building wealth. So she's saying, let's redirect our money to black-owned businesses. And yeah, she's getting quite a bit of support from folks who feel like, finally, we're doing something to empower our own community. Some people are even saying they've already started boycotting and it feels good to keep the money circulating locally in the black community. But here's the other side. She's also facing a ton of backlash. A lot of people are calling this out as basically racism in reverse. They're saying, look, You can't boycott businesses based on the owner's skin color. That's just not how a modern, fair society works. Critics are pointing out that Asian communities face plenty of hardship too. They dealt with racism, Islamophobia, and they often succeeded because of really hard work, long hours, and strong family networks. So to them, this isn't about privilege. It's about sacrifice and effort. And then you got Feg saying she's got double standards. Why only target Asian businesses? Why not apply the same logic to other groups? And people are really worried that this kind of rhetoric's just going to divide communities that have lived side by side for ages. So that's the situation in a nutshell. It's a big, messy debate with strong feelings on all sides.
I'm very glad that the conversation about South Asian people implanting themselves in black communities and taking our money but not showing us any kind of humanity is coming up again with the whole situation with the Peckham hair shop, because it's a very, very valid issue, and it's very sinister to see that a lot of people, a lot of South Asian people and Asian people in general will set up shop in black communities, and they'll take our money, but they'll be following us around shops, and they will be, just displaying very, very racist behavior due to white supremacist ideals. I'm so glad the conversation's happening. I'm so glad that there's a conversation about boycotting these shops until they show us respect, or just indefinitely. But on the back end of that conversation, obviously a lot of black people are once again saying that we need to start investing black pounds, black dollars in the US, because similar things happen there too. A lot of us are trying to start the conversation that we should be investing that money, our money, within our own community. And I just have something to say about it. Don't worry, I'm not saying that we shouldn't do it, because I love buying from black businesses. If there's a black business that does the same as any other business, best believe I want to buy from them first. That is, hands down, that's always what I want to do. I do believe that the black pound holds a lot of weight, and we should be investing it back into our community. So don't worry, I'm not saying. But what I am saying, and what I am begging from the black community this time, is please, can we have this conversation in earnest? Please, can we be serious about this conversation? Not about whether or not we're going to do it, because we can do it very easily, but about businesses within the black community and how they are run, because there are plenty of black businesses that have a good business plan, that have longevity in mind, that have good business, is it acumen? I think that's how it's pronounced, but basically just very, very good business skills, who are going to go very, very far in life, right? 10 of which even got $10,000 investments from Beyonce at her concert. If you know, but there are plenty of black people who are doing amazing in business. This is not about you. But from these times, from these conversations, from these boycotts, there always pops up quite a few unregistered black businesses, unregistered businesses run by black people in general, right? Just completely unregistered, that have bad business plans, bad etiquette, bad customer service skills. They don't know how to budget properly. They don't know how to, separate profit from how they need to be paying people, how they need to be paying themselves, all that kind of stuff. It takes time, okay, to make money from a business. It really, really does. It takes years to turn over a profit for some people even, which is why I want to say that if you want to start a hair shop of your own, if you want to start a lash business of your own, a hair business of your own, a facial business of your own, whatever, please, can you first and foremost get the correct qualifications that you need to do that, right? So if, for instance, if you're doing lashes and you want to take please take a legitimate cosmetology course. You want to do facials, you want to have a course, please, can you be a licensed esthetician before you do this? If you want to open a shop, please make sure you have all of the right details before you do this. In the times of free AI, free chat GPT, they can make you a business plan. Please, if you need help about how to look for these things, there's so many tools on TikTok. People who run successful businesses, they're here telling you all of the secrets. Please do not start businesses within the black community and be playing in people's hair and lashes and their lips and their face and their physical body, and even other product like clothing and stuff. Please don't be playing in people's bodies and wardrobes just because you want to make a quick buck, because it's so upsetting that from these conversations that are happening in earnest, and people who really want to start businesses for the black community and actually help us out as a community, it's so upsetting when I see that the ones that are actually being promoted are the disingenuous, I'm just trying to make a quick pound side hustles, when in my opinion, if you want to start a hair shop, that needs to be your full thing. That needs to be your whole gig, right? For a certain amount of time. More of you need to realize that when you start a business, this is an investment, okay? This is an investment. This is full time, okay? And I know that we always hear the stories about how, you know, these big CEOs, they were doing this alongside studying at Harvard and blah, 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 blah. But what they don't tell you is that they've had investments from their parents. They've had hundreds of thousands of dollars invested from people who they know because they have certain networking skills and blah, 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 blah. If you are somebody who is working class, lower middle class, whatever, it's going to take a lot more of your time, because time and money are the biggest investments in this world. It's going to take a lot more of your time if you don't have the money to invest in these businesses. Because if you don't have hundreds of thousands of pounds to pay other people to do things that you need to do within this business, you're going to have to do the role of about 20 people at once, which is why, off the back of these conversations about boycotting certain hair shops, if you want to start a business, I really encourage you to do so, but I need people to understand the gravity of starting that business, because we're going to continue having the same conversation, because this conversation happened last year, this conversation happened 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years, it happens all the time. But the reason why we still aren't getting enough money into the black community, the reason why we aren't circulating the pound within the black community, is because a lot of us are not starting these businesses in earnest. A lot of us do not know how to run these businesses to a successful degree. Okay, we don't know about how to deal with competition, for instance. Like, you can't go into the field of hair and then be pricing it 20 times more than the South Asian shops, because, for instance, a lot of us don't have the money to invest in that. Okay, and the competition is going to beat you out because they've got better products than you and they're cheaper. Like, it's just stuff like that where I think that more of us need to learn how to start businesses and run those businesses properly and really invest the time that we have, because most of us don't have the money to invest, the equivalent. So yeah, I just think amazing this conversation has started. Amazing we want to invest more money within the black community. But please, if you are going to start a business, know what it takes. Be the person who knows what it takes to start a business and go for it. I really encourage more of you to do that. I really encourage more of you to seek out the skills that it takes to start a business. But please, fully grasp in your head what it takes to start a business. And please get fucking registered on HMRC. I'm so tired.
Coming back here, we're gonna be in front of this store. We're gonna show you what a black bitch is.
See, me, I'm a solution girl. So let's do one better. How about all the people that got the money in this community, in our community, as black people that got money, let's start funding our own beauty supply stores. Let's start funding the shit that we like to spend money on. How about that? It's all cool and all to be posted up in front of a store that we know some black people are still gonna go to because they need that quick, fast, instant gratification shit. They don't know how to go without that shit. Okay, cool. Let's protect the black people. Yes, I love what they're doing, but let's also put some money into stuff that we buy. Beauty supply stores, grocery stores, hair, nails. Let's start putting money actively into those things so we can have our own. Fuck this inclusive shit. I'm tired of it. We should have never, ever been desegregated. We should just realize that we can make this shit on our own. That's the only thing we should have did.
Recently on Tuesday, a Thai restaurant that goes by the name of Tasty Thai, that is located in central Fresno in California, was shut down after being subjected to a barrage of racist threats and remarks because of a viral video that surfaced online where the original poster, Alvarez Garcia, showed a clearly distressed dog that was chained up outside of a home next to the restaurant. And despite the owners of Tasty Thai having no affiliation with that home or do not even know the owners of that home, she made baseless assumptions and baseless claims stating that this restaurant must be selling dog meat. This incident brought up a lot of questions and topics that I've wanted to cover for a really long time, but I haven't, out of fear of my opinion being disregarded by people claiming that I must be an avid consumer of dog meat by defending the act of dog consumption. Growing up, I was constantly subjected to so many dog eating jokes, cat eating jokes, whenever I would tell people that I'm Korean or they could clearly see that I'm Asian. And despite a vast majority of Koreans, nearly 87.5 of them, nationwide have stated that they have never consumed dog meat and they have no plans on consuming it in the future. I personally have a really cute dog. His name is Apollo. But one question that I've always had is why do people constantly crap on the act of consuming dog meat? But they never seem to shame people that eat duck meat or consume horse meat, despite those two animals also being pretty beloved household animals in certain cultures, or just generally being beloved by the general population. The act of consuming dog meat is only illegal in 6 different states in the United States. Similarly, horse consumption is also illegal in a multitude of states in the United States as well. However, the act of consuming horse meat is pretty common in certain places in Europe, like Italy, Belgium, France. Yet you never hear people online going up to a European and saying, wow, you eat horse meat, or wow, you're so gross, you eat horse. Why is that? That is because dog eating jokes are used as a means to vilify Asian people, to constantly paint a picture that they are a perpetual foreigner and that they are not welcome in this country. In recent years, there has been a stark increase in anti-Asian hate crimes as a result of COVID-19. But racism and discrimination against Asian Americans isn't anything new. The Chinese Exclusion Act of 1882 is the first and only federal law that banned a specific nationality from becoming U.S. citizens. Or even back in the 1870s when there was an influx of Chinese immigrants. A lot of Chinese immigrants, as a means to be able to make their living, started owning laundromats. And when someone saw that the store that they owned and they wanted to own that for themselves, they would go to the health department and they would state that you should shut this laundromat down because it is dirty and it is diseased simply because it was owned by Chinese people. During the height of the pandemic, I received so many comments on my social media posts calling me a bat eater, calling me a dog eater, telling me to go back to my home country, even though I am a US citizen and I was born and raised in the US. I understand that people have different beliefs and may want to criticize other people that consume dog because it doesn't align with their beliefs, because they consider dogs to be pets rather than food. But in other cultures where cows are viewed as sacred, and I would say a vast majority of Americans consume meat with the exception of vegans or vegetarians, you don't hear incidents in the news of people going up to Americans and saying, wow, you're so weird for consuming cow meat. That is fine if your cultural beliefs are different from another person, but that doesn't mean that you should shame them. Why do people vilify Asians for consuming dog, but not Europeans for consuming horse meat? It is because dog eating jokes have been used as a way or as a means to vilify Asian Americans, to perpetuate the perpetual foreigner stereotype that is rooted in racial stereotypes and general cultural ignorance, in addition to xenophobia. This selective focus on dog consumption and these double standards just highlight a biased perspective that constantly targets Asian Americans as a means to reinforce this idea that Asians are not welcome in this country, that we are weird, that we're exotic, that we're diseased. This act of establishing Asian Americans as exotic or as perpetual foreigners can even be further reinforced with how Asians are fetishized by the media now. I know that there's been an influx of a lot of people appreciating Korean culture, appreciating K-pop or K-dramas. The amount of times I've been told that I'm so lucky that I'm Korean is kind of astounding. And although I'm so grateful that people are appreciating my culture, you shouldn't be able to pick and choose what parts of my culture that you will choose to accept and disregard. So many people from so many different countries come to America to chase the American dream, whether they're fleeing from war-torn countries or just generally trying to seek out more opportunity. I understand that certain cultural practices may seem foreign or may seem weird to you, but you shouldn't be able to pick and choose which practices that you deem to be weird or that should be vilified just because of the color of my skin. You should be holding everyone else to the same standard and realizing that everyone is different. But that's the beauty in living in a very diverse country. We're constantly exposed to so many people from different cultures, from different countries, and instead of shaming them about the country that they come from or maybe the practices from their original country, we should be working to educate ourselves and be.
So guys, that is quite a debate going on about them, and I know you have views on that. You have watched the videos and you have heard the black women speak. You've had them have this discussion where they are asking each other if it really is right for them to boycott the Asian businesses. And first of all, I think I will just give my commentary as my opinion on this. And first of all, I think that is what should be done, that black people have a lot of work to do for them to get to where they want to be. We all know the journey, where we have come from and where we are now and where we are headed. Black people already know that. They know that it's going to take sweat and a lot more for them to get to the place where they are, how do I say it, like independent, like they do not rely on anyone for anything. They have their own lives that they can operate from a place of peace, that you do not need to rely on other people for your survival. That's basic. So for those that know what I'm saying, they totally understand that for Black people to achieve that, there has to be a lot of sacrifices and things that will go into it. Part of doing the work is doing this kind of cleaning, yeah? Because Black people, the only safest place that they have that they can build themselves, empower each other, is their markets, their businesses, and their communities. Now, if you want to also take that away from them, then how are we supposed to achieve that kind of growth that we are looking up to? It's going to be very hard. It's not, and this is not even about African Americans or Black people disliking or hating on Asians, Asian Americans, I mean. It's really not about hate. It's about, and it's not about envy either. It's just about people looking out for themselves. And, sometimes life gives you two options, a rock and a hard place. And for our Asian people, it's not about hate. It's just that the things that we have gone through as a people do not allow us to continue doing things the same way and expecting different results. There has to be a lot that goes into ensuring that there is a change to this, and part of that change is things like this and more to come. Yeah. So we also understand that Asians, as people living in America, have also gone through their fair share of discrimination. They have not exactly had the same treatment as white people themselves. And in as much as we look at it from the angle of at least they had something, they were discriminated upon, but just not as much as African Americans. I totally understand that point. But now, here's where it gets a little bit like a rock and a hard place, because they have gone through that, and we have seen, and we see them talking about it. And there's even a lady that has talked about it here, talking about being discriminated upon as dog eaters and stuff like that. It's totally understandable. But the thing is, we have all gone through our struggles as two different people, and it doesn't really matter who got the worst treatment than the other, because mistreatment is just mistreatment, and discrimination is just discrimination. But the thing is, we were not discriminated the same. We were not discriminated the same. In as much as you had your stuff going, and you felt as if you were not exactly where you're supposed to be, it was not as bad as African Americans. And for that reason, you might have found yourself in a better position compared to Black people, because you were more likely to be given an opportunity than a Black person, So, and this is over the years, over all those years that we're talking about. So that automatically puts you in a better position to do things. And for example, even getting the loans that someone has talked about in these videos, even getting those loans is quite something. It's quite something. And when you readily get these things, you don't usually think of the other people that are not getting it. It doesn't occur to you that there are people that are actually struggling 10 times more to get what you basically get in an easy way. So for that reason, I think Asian people should just understand that we have a lot of work to do, a lot of rebuilding to do, a lot of learning, a lot of unlearning, a lot of relearning to do. And that's quite some work. That's quite some piece of work to do. And if we are really to go on this journey that we are on, we have to do things like this. We have to boycott where we have to support our own if we have to. There's a lot more that we are going to do as Black people if we are to get to the point where we are always dreaming to be. Anything other than that will mean that we are never going to succeed in our plan to be independent, to live a more fulfilling life. Guys, I hope nobody is feeling offended, and if you are, I'm deeply sorry, but some things just need to be said and done with. So, for those that are joining us for the first time, kindly consider subscribing to my channel. It's a growing channel, so kindly consider subscribing because it means a lot to the channel's growth. And for returning subscribers, I'm always so happy to see you here. This is your home, and I love to get your views in the comment section. Share what you think about this video, share about what you think about the other videos that I have done. And I have been getting a question on people trying to reach me. Kindly check the channel's description. There's all the contacts that you need to get to me, and share whatever you want to share with me. And I think please subscribe, and I hope to see you on my next one. Bye for now.